Hi, Lindsay.
Hi, good morning. How are
Good
you?
morning. How are you?
Good.
How are you feeling?
Pretty good. Yeah. I'm just I'm just grateful. So like all the stuff I'm just like bring it on.
Well, it's interesting because I feel like we're connected here, but I actually don't know that much about like your experience, your journey. I don't know how long you
Yeah.
were trying. So I feel like I really appreciate you, first of all, just being open to sharing because I know so many women are like either feel embarrassed or they don't want to talk about it. And I feel like to talk, it's so common, like fertility struggles and issues are so common. So I feel like talking about it is really, really important. So
I know that's another reason that I feel so grateful too. And I had actually made like an appointment with like I don't know, a place called like Conceptions, like down in Denver, which is the closest big city to us. It's like 2.5 hours away.
wait, so
And then,
where are you? Because we're probably local to each other because I'm in Boulder.
oh my God, what? We live in Summit County in Frisco.
No
I don't know
way.
why I thought you lived in Florida.
No, my hair would be like a
Ah,
disaster if
oh my
I
God,
go
that's
based on where my
so
hair is
awesome.
best. So Boulder.
Oh, that's
Ah,
amazing. Yeah,
yeah.
so
So let me ask you now, how many months are you or weeks are you now?
I'm 7 weeks right now.
Oh my gosh. Wow. How do you
I
feel?
know. I feel good. Just like I kind of have all the things, like even some things I wasn't expecting, like some unlovely symptoms.
It's amazing what happens to your body. I was pregnant twice and I embrace all of it. But like towards the end, you're like, is this my body? Like, it's
And
certainly
even
like a
now, I'm like,
letting go, a
I'm coming
surrender.
after with some big boobs and some bad gas.
You
But
lose all vanity. You're like, okay.
and I just like couldn't believe it at first. So I was like for a week I was like buying more and more tests, and he was like, "You are pregnant. Stop taking those. Like you're wasting money." I'm like, ah. So every symptom is just like more confirmation, and I know a lot of people are like, "Oh, wait till you're 12 weeks," but I'm not a rule follower, and I just said F that. I'm so
Mhm.
excited, and
You now I
you know,
have
I
to know what's your sign though. I'm always when someone is not a rule follower, I'm like, are you an
I'm a Libra.
You're a Libra.
Hmm.
Oh,
I'm a
okay.
Libra, and I have a lot of planets in Scorpio as well. And my partner
Mm.
is a Scorpio. So yeah, Libra pregnant with an Aries over here.
So that would be I'm an Aries and my mom is a Libra. So
Oh wow. Yeah, so I
Mhm.
definitely feel like the fire, and my dreams have been so insane. That's like one thing that no one ever told me. But I've
Mhm.
been having the most vivid, crazy dreams, and I don't know if it's because I don't smoke weed anymore or what it is, but
So
it's just
how
crazy.
so actually when you're pregnant you're creating, like when you're creating it's almost like that creation causes heat, and since heat rises often we'll have like really vivid intense dreams. And I also feel like energetically we are like, this is what I believe, that we're like a little more open to like the
Mhm.
other realms of whatever you believe in. So there's like a real physical manifestation of like heat, which is why later on we might get like heartburn or indigestion, but also like dreams. Also, I got like a ton of bloody noses when I was pregnant, which is just all the heat kind of rising. So
Crazy. Yeah, it's crazy and amazing. And yeah, I just am welcoming it all right now. Like I
love it.
feel, but I definitely believe in that for sure. Like the veil thinning, especially as you get closer, and just being kind of this container between worlds. And I'm so excited. And I kind of like I moved to Kauai last September, and I went to a doula school there, this school called Sacred Birthing School. And then right before I came back to Colorado in June, I was able to be at one of my friends' births, and it was a total like off-grid Kauai birth in a yurt with just women, like her sister, her mom, me, and
That's amazing.
so I feel like that really set me up too for just to come to Colorado and be back living with my man and to get pregnant.
Have you thought about your birth, like how you want to birth? Do you want home births, or has that?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, my dream would be to just totally have a free birth with wise women around me,
Mm,
and then be close to, you know, if I needed to go somewhere. But
yeah.
I also just like, as soon as I found out I was pregnant, got on the phone with my Vedic astrologer and I was like, where should I give birth? Like, I don't know, think I want to be in America. Like, where should I go?
Wow.
So I just want to meditate and kind of let the answers come from this soul that's inside. Like, what do you want to be named? What country do you want to be born in? And navigate from there. That's kind of my plan.
I love it. I mean, it sounds like you're really surrendering. I always see pregnancy and childbirth as kind of an initiation if we choose to accept it, and it sounds like you really are like just going into it rather than looking outward for answers and solutions. And so,
Absolutely. Yeah. And I listened to, this meditation the other day on like the Lionsgate portal, and it was like pick
mm,
one. And the one that I picked was all about like going on a journey, and like the type of journey where you go out in a boat by yourself and you just surrendered your life basically, and then with the expectation of gaining a new life. And that
yeah,
felt so relevant to me. So
amazing. Truly a rite of passage. So,
yeah.
well, I just like, how did you find me? I guess, how did you find Wisdom of the Womb? And
So on Instagram,
uh-huh.
and I came by your page, and then I think the first tea that I got was one of your like promotions you were doing.
Yeah, the free plus shipping.
Yeah, totally. And
Yeah.
then I just loved the ritual of like really nurturing myself with making the tea and with drinking the herbs. And so yeah, I got hooked to taking them, and then I did research about the herbs that were in the tea, and I drank it consistently for about 8 months.
Wow. And had you been like actively trying to get pregnant before that or during that time? Or was it ever like a concern for you that it might be an issue?
Well, I have always had really long, really inconsistent and irregular cycles, like basically my whole life, and especially since I stopped taking birth control when I think I was
Mhm.
about 23 years old. So I took birth control from 16 to 23, and then 16 or 17. And then, yeah, after that, noticed like really inconsistent cycles, and then started really tracking my cycles and noticing that there was a pretty far range. So anywhere from 32 to like 48 days. And then sometimes, like the month that I moved to Hawaii, I went like 75 days
Wow.
without bleeding. So yeah, it was a concern to me. And also I just haven't been the most like risk, I haven't been the most like cautious ever. And I've never had
Mhm.
any accidents or any like times where I was like, oh my God, I might be pregnant. Like
Yeah.
even with my periods being late, I just was like, that never came. So when I did find this man that I knew I wanted to have a baby with, we weren't together very long before we were like, we love each other, we should have a family. And, we began just really freely making love and kind of welcoming if a baby were to come in. And that was last February. So February 2020. And then really once the pandemic hit and we were holed up in the cabin together, we were like, okay, like let's let this happen. And when it didn't start happening, I think that's when I was like, okay, what research am I gonna do? And I'm not against, using science, but I really wanted to focus on nutrition and herbs.
Mhm. So did you
Yeah.
notice a difference? Like physically, did you notice a difference? So it was just the fertile mama tea, I think you were
Fertile
drinking.
Mama
Did you
tea is
drink
all
any of
those.
the other ones?
No, I
Just
didn't.
that one. Did you feel
Yeah.
differently when you drank it? Like, did you notice any sensations or any feelings that were different?
I'm not sure if I noticed any anything different. My cycles really didn't change. Like,
Mhm.
like I said, sometimes it would be 32 or 33 days, but then I would have the next one 37 days or something.
Mhm.
But I think just that practice of like daily nurturing yourself in that way, and then also putting in the intentions, made a really big difference for me.
You just sound like my perfect, I'm always aware of feeling like I don't want to just help people get pregnant. I mean, I do, but that's like the end of the process. Like, I really want to help women feel more connected to the options that are available to them, and to feel more connected to their wombs and their bodies and the earth. And so that's where it feels like I really feel like more of an educator than like a fertility specialist. So I love that it
Absolutely.
sounds like you've really, you kind of like made it about your body and your connection and the ritual. So I just love that. I love everything you're saying.
Yeah, and just learning, like, what are the differences and what is happening, and then also learning to love your blood every month when it comes,
Mhm.
and just coming up with the affirmations of like, this is working and it is a perfect design. And I really think mindset has so much to do with it as well. So
Mhm. I
yeah.
love that, like loving your blood every month, because with so many of the women I speak with, it's either like we hated our periods, or it was just like a nuisance, or it was something that was made us feel like medicalized, like, oh, there's an issue and I don't really know what to do about it. Like, not even fertility, but just our reproductive health. Like, if we have cramping, what does that mean? We don't really have those answers. So just to
Mhm,
kind of like through Western medicine, we don't have those answers. So just to really
mhm.
connect with our blood as sacred, and like create a ritual around it, or like recognize that it's like our magic, which again would have been a rite of passage if we lived in the times of the red tent, but now it's kind
Absolutely,
of,
which I wish we did. I would love
I
to
do
create
too.
that.
Can we do that?
Yeah.
Recreate the red tent. That's the
I feel like
goal.
we could find some Colorado sisters that would be down.
There are so many. Just might have to move to Boulder.
Really? Okay. That's
Yeah.
so funny.
So, I mean, this is another one of those things where I'm like, ultimately, I believe in every woman's like sovereignty and her womb sovereignty. And so I never want to like sway
Mhm,
people to do something. But if you were talking to someone who was having an issue, or not able to get pregnant, or was kind of on the fence and not sure where to turn, now being kind of on the other side yourself, would you have any advice or recommendations or support that you would want to offer?
yeah, and absolutely. I mean, I feel like I hear so many people that are like, "Oh, I'm not getting pregnant. I'm starting Clomid next month," or
Mhm.
and I understand like the urgency of being like, "I want a baby now. Why isn't it working?" Because I definitely went through those feelings of what am I going to have to do, and I really don't want to have to do anything crazy or expensive or invasive.
Mhm.
Um, but I would tell them definitely to just do all the research that you can, like read and spend time loving yourself, and realize also that like the time delay does serve you. And this, if you feel that you are meant to be a mom, you are. And there is a spirit out there that is going to come in at the perfect time. And I think our spirit babies know a lot more than we do, or than we think they do. And I mean, I'm going to be 35 in October, so I really feel like I've seen so many friends and all my sisters and all my stepsisters and all my sister-in-laws who are like younger than me get pregnant and have their babies. And I've definitely gone through a time of really releasing my fear that it would never be my turn. Like, I
Wow.
felt I felt that grief and I felt that fear, and I think releasing that is was a big part of it. And I think I have said to someone before, like, well, have you tried calling the spirit in? And I think they looked at me like, you're psycho. But
Mhm.
I really believe in that.
Yeah.
And I really believe too in getting back to just the old ways, like the wise woman ways. I mean,
Mhm.
we're so disconnected from what it takes to grow our own food and grow our own medicine. And for me, that's the only way to
Mhm.
live going forward. So
I love that so much. And I'm totally, everything you said really resonates. And I find like sometimes my tendency is to say like we're so disconnected from our bodies, but I'm kind of shifting that to realize like I actually think that we are connected, but sometimes we don't have like the framework, we don't have the interface to like even know
integrate.
what we're feeling. So we'll like be like something feels off, and so I'll go to the doctor and they'll be like no, you're fine, and you're like okay, I must be fine, when really I think if we had the like languaging around what we were feeling, or the capacity, or the kind of like the framework to be able to go inward and recognize that everything we feel is an opportunity to like go deeper and know ourselves deeper and know ourselves more fully, so that then we can connect outward from that like place of deep integration. I feel like that is the medicine, and that we can access everything from that place of like depth. So whether it's, you know, growing our own medicine or growing our own food or creating life, it's like we're coming from a place of like deep awareness of self. So it sounds like you're just totally like doing the work and creating the language for yourself, really, which is beautiful.
I feel like I have done a lot, and I know there's a lot more coming up. So I'm excited about that. But yeah, I would definitely tell people that it's not just physical, to tap into where your emotions are and where these maybe like repressed or hidden fears or feelings of inadequacy are. And I think it's all a part of it. And I love drinking the tea so much. And I was drinking nettles is like one of my favorite herbs
Mhm.
to drink, and also Tulsi rose. And then
Mhm.
I was reading like that these aren't good to drink in early pregnancy, and so now I just have my tea like sitting there, and I'm like, shit, like what can I miss
Blissful
that
mama.
I
I'll
miss
send
that
you a
ritual.
blissful mama. Yeah, I'll send you a blissful mama. I
Oh,
have one
I feel
for
like
my
I was
busy.
looking on your site for what to drink when you are pregnant. When you finally do get pregnant.
We have to update our site a little bit. It's on there, but
Okay.
it's hard to find. So I'll send you one, and I'll send you a belly and booby oil for your growing belly.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, that was definitely the first thing. I was like, these are my dream tits. Like, I have never. Something is up for sure. So,
Enjoy them while they last.
yeah, I know. I've heard that too. Like, oh, your nipples will never be the same. I'm like, oh.
Yeah, I breastfed for like 6 years straight, so now I'm just like, oh, girls.
Oh, how many babies do you have?
I have two. They're 10 and 12 now. So
Um,
yeah, and I also I had home births with both of them, and it was like I found my roar during them. So I feel like that has kind of informed, because I was a fertility worker before that, but it was totally like acupuncture and science and
acupuncture.
reading testing and
Hmm.
charts, and I felt like I was really just like I was coming at it, even though I was in a more holistic approach of Eastern medicine. I was still coming at it from like a very, I see it as kind of like a young intellectual mind. And
Okay.
this whole journey for me has been like finding my womb, as opposed to like the uterus, you know. It's like it's different. I feel like the womb is like the magic. So sometimes even when I communicate about this stuff, I'm like finding the happy place between like what I know, which is like the womb is a freaking portal to another dimension, and then like, but how can I get the women to just be like, all right, I'll drink the tea, because it's like that happy medium.
Hmm.
Yeah, where some women
Yeah.
are open to like calling in their spirit baby, and others are like, I'll just drink a tea. But
Hmm.
yeah.
Yeah. It's like so beautiful to see someone begin in kind of an allopathic perspective and then just widen back to and what they know innately. And so the work you're doing in this world is so beautiful. And yeah, I would love to hear about your births and your journey, like with your career, and totally follow in your footsteps.
Oh, I love that. I love that. Well,
Yeah.
we should connect. I mean, I feel like I kind of expected this call to just be like, when did you drink the tea? And it's you're like I could tell you're like a spirit sister. So I'm like,
Yeah, I love it. But yes,
yeah.
I drank the tea for 8 months and I tried for a little over a year to make a baby. And then our baby finally came in July. So,
Yeah.
and
Well,
yeah, navigating just all of the options for prenatal care. And I'm just like,
mhm,
um,
yeah.
it's really going to be a lot of work with like boundaries, with like telling people
Mhm.
or not telling people what I'm doing or what I'm not doing.
This is like a huge, I mean, I've actually thought about this because I think, like I said before, when you're pregnant and when you're birthing and even when you're trying to conceive, it's so much about like your sense of sovereignty. And I think we often, especially when we're pregnant or we're about to birth, we're like giving our power away, or like really having to like claim our power and our inner knowing, even if it's at odds. Like when I was deciding to have home birth, it was like a fight, and finally it was just like, this is what I'm doing, and like it doesn't matter, and a fight of like people who cared, but like you're jeopardizing the risk of your child, like. And so to really just have a sense of, which I don't believe to be true, by the way, but that was kind
No,
of
it's actually
the
statistically
language.
safer. I mean,
Totally. Totally. And I
especially
understand it
now.
was just people who were concerned, who hadn't done their own research and who hadn't informed and educated themselves. But that's the real fear that people are coming at you with, which is like, I never believed that to be true. And I fully had to go inward and like trust that like this is what my body is meant to do. And this is what I'm gonna do. And it was, to this day, it's like the most profoundly impactful, powerful, um, like times in my experiences in my life. So like for any woman who is thinking about doing it or considering doing it, home birth, free birth, I totally, let me know how I can support you.
Thank
But it's
you.
exciting, and I feel like it's really claiming your, ferocity and your power and all of your freaking magic. So it's exciting to me.
Which are all going to be things that I want to be able to tell my baby that, their mom possesses and
Mhm.
that I would want them to possess, like whether it's a son or a daughter. So,
Mhm. And they won't even
yeah, I
really
mean,
have to tell them, because they'll just see it, because it will inform you and your experience and your embodiment. So
thank you for saying that. Yeah. And I feel so grateful also just to have a partner that is 100% supportive and is like, yes, this is what we're doing. And
I love that.
um, he's like, I need to learn, like, what do I need to learn? Like he is like
Mhm.
head first into learning everything and it's beautiful. So we're just so grateful and I'm so excited and yeah, just thankful.
Mhm.
And grateful for the herbs and just for the process that it facilitated, learning about them and then having them and making that, like I said, the ritual. And yeah, so I want to continue drinking every day something beautiful. And
Mhm. But I really appreciate you coming on and
oh
talking.
my
I
gosh.
feel like sometimes when, it just feels like anonymous people out there, to like, so to connect with you as a real person
I mean,
and
I
a
told you I
real,
was pregnant before I told my mom or my sister or anyone. I was like, it worked. I knew it was going to, but I just wanted to tell you like how important the work you're doing is, and if more women knew and could create this, ritual for themselves in their lives, and just to see it come to fruition, and just
Mhm.
to see that positive test, and to feel all the things. It's just, you know, and for to have prayed for it for so long and to have it come true is
Mm.
really beautiful.
Well, so deeply received. Really, truly. Thank you so much for sharing. And I hope we'll
Yeah.
stay in touch.